Well, hello, and welcome to Average Superstar TV. I'm your host, Lauren Lepre. Please give me that honor and hit that subscribe button on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. And this week we are back. We got a wonderful guest here and back into my wrestling roots here. So this is also someone from the independent film world too. For anyone who keeps up with my films as well. So I would just like to say I've known this person for quite a number of years. We actually met at a Guar concert, out of all things. Lost touch, then got in touch when she jumped back into the film world. And before I know it, this girl's multi-talented, is a professional wrestler. So this is a girl that can kind of she does it all. So with that, I welcome VITA VONSTARR to Average Superstar TV.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So great seeing you again. I guess we could kind of jump all over. I know I met you. I got acquainted with you maybe about 8 years ago at a networking event, one of mine, and you did do the Dark Military with me, which you did an amazing job with. That was an amazing week. And then all of a sudden I blink and you're a wrestler.
It's not really that surprising.
No, not with you. No. But so backing up there. So were you originally just trying to go for, I think you're a person like me. You like to have your hands on a lot of things. Were you trying to like go full time into acting or were you just giving that a shot and you got more lured towards wrestling? How'd that work?
Yeah, I was going towards acting full time for quite a while. Actually, I studied Meisner at a studio in Times Square for 2 years full time, and I did the hustle, like going to New York multiple times a week for auditions and stuff like that. I think the overall goal for me was always entertainment and just being an artist. You know, I love performing. I love doing stuff in the studio, but I love live shows. As you know, I'm super active, so I have to move around a lot too. So yeah, I did kind of primarily acting for a number of years, and then it just kind of morphed into everything else. And, you know, I just kind of go where the wind blows me sometimes.
I like it. Yeah, you just you are all over the place. And I remember originally when I saw the vision of the Dark Military, I knew I wanted girls, and you were the first person when I saw the shadowy figures in my head. You were the first person to fill a slot. I'm like 100% her. I'm like, yeah. I've known you the longest, and like you just had the figure for it. I was like, I've always kind of had a thing about. When I see a horror movie with a girl that weighs like 100 pounds, I was like, I don't believe it. And you have the figure where like, yeah, you're going to believe this. So,
exactly.
Yeah. So that was a wonderful week. And, you know, I always still get compliments about you. They're just like, wow, like what a figure and what a scary girl that was. I was like, she did her job. That's what she was there for.
Thank you. I try.
Yeah.
Actually, don't try. It comes pretty natural.
Yep. So, and then all of a sudden, I remember like, you know, I'm talking to you about film stuff one night, and you're like, "Yo, I'm starting to learn how to become a wrestler." So, how did that give us the origin of that? How did you transition to that?
Well, I had known some girls that were starting to train, and these were girls that I knew from like skating FDR, girls that I knew from just the punk scene in Philly. Everyone who was involved was like in a band or an artist of some kind. And one of the girls was like, oh yeah, I'm starting this DIY women's wrestling league called PLOW, you know, Philadelphia Ladies of Wrestling, kind of like based off of Glow. And we're gonna, you know, do promos in between bands and shit because we all kind of had those kinds of connections. And you know, being in from an entertainment background, I was like, yeah, hell yeah, that sounds awesome. So we all started training together. Most of them dropped off eventually. One of the girls I still train with to this day, actually, and she's killing it. The Crusher, look up the Crusher because she rules.
When you were training with those girls, did they like when you? I could kind of see you easily holding up, but like, did they understand once their body hit the mat? Was that like, whoa, no? Were they like dropping like flies? Like, it looked fun on TV, but you know.
Kinda, yeah. I mean, like, I've been an athlete my whole life, so I knew, you know, I went in like knowing, oh, this is probably gonna be pretty hard and like take a lot of training. But yeah, I think, and this is, you know, I see this a lot now that I've been doing it for a while now. You know, people just like putting on the costume and kind of like being a personality, but like, you do have to go to the gym multiple times a week by yourself. You do have to go to class multiple times a week. Like, honestly, like, you're looking at 5 days a week training, really. Like, you know, but I already like lived that kind of life. So it wasn't, you know, it was fun. And that was kind of like why I kept going, was because I fell in love with the training, because I loved doing lucha. I loved all the flippy stuff. And I loved that it was such a physically challenging discipline as well as a performing art. So that was my transition into pro wrestling.
So you're in like magnificent shape and stuff. So let's just let the audience in on this. You and I aren't 20 or 21 years old. So let's just say, I'm just kind of curious, how are you keeping your body like going? Like what are you doing to keep it that doesn't fall apart like everybody else is, like a football player or even any of the professional wrestlers that have been around 20, 30 years? Like, do you have any advice you could give to people, like what you do?
You got to take care of yourself, man. Diet is a huge factor for me. I really only eat clean, organic as much as possible. I mean, obviously, like, sometimes you're on the road and you got to eat the shitty truck stop dinner at 2 a.m. But I hate it. I don't eat fast food at all if I can avoid it. I don't eat anything that's like fried, empty carbs, like none of that. All of my food is nutritionally dense. I do take a lot of supplements. That's part of it too. Tons of hydration. You can never underestimate that. So I just drink like gallons of water every day. And yoga. You know, you got to move all your joints no matter what kind of physical discipline you primarily do. Chances are you're working certain muscle groups pretty hard, and like certain things are getting ignored. So yoga is awesome cross training for everybody. I always recommend it because you're using your whole body as well as kind of getting into a meditative state, which helps with healing. So it's a constant process. Recovery is a thing. You have to actually dedicate time to recovery, and that's tricky sometimes when, you know, you have rehearsals and training and shows and stuff. But like, I try to set aside 1 day a week that I can just like get some acupuncture or massage or like do something that helps me recover. So it's a full-time job, honestly.
Totally get you. And do you ice a lot? Like, do you ice your
Not
body?
often. I really when I was skateboarding and snowboarding, all that, and that was like my primary discipline, yeah, because I was like constantly spraining ankles and stuff like that. But now I like really try to keep, you know, again, like inflammation in the body is a thing that, you know, is the root cause of like almost every injury and disease. So, you know, again, diet's a big part of that, maintaining, you know, controlling inflammation in the body. And I do like turmeric and ginger and like herbs and stuff for inflammation. So with that, like, honestly, it's pretty much under control. Like, I usually feel pretty good.
That's wonderful. Well, you're doing it. You're always active. So you know, I think what you're doing anyway is working for you, and I think it will work for a lot of other people. So you know, we're always looking at the best way to be healthy, and most of all, if you're an athlete, preserve your body the best way you possibly could. You know, but so
Absolutely.
so you did the training, and then what would you say? Because where was your takeoff point? Where did you start off with this some basic indies, and did you just earn it? Was it one of those things, kind of like everything else, like you have a friend that said, "Hey, take a look at this person, and yeah, we could use you."
Yeah.
Like how
Yeah, that definitely happens for sure. Yeah, you just got to put yourself out there, and you know, you got to be willing to do a lot of shitty road trips, and you know, not make a lot of money for a while, and you know, just really, you know, there's a lot of dues to be paid in anything, in in everything, really. But yeah, when I got picked up by Ring of Honor, it was because I was training with Delirious, and he's amazing, and he knew that Vincent was starting this faction coming up, the Righteous, that was going to be based on kind of the Devil's Rejects and the Manson family. And Delirious was like, oh, hey, you know, I know this girl. She's different. And kind of, you know, showed him some videos of like some spots and stuff I was doing in class. And that's how that happened. And that just kind of was like divine timing. Just the way that all fell into place, and the, you know, the rest is history.
yeah, it seems like you guys are doing. I thought you guys were doing great from what I was keeping up with. At least it was also different looks. Like you know, anyone knows my history. I was involved with the wrestling business from like '99 to '04, but like when that door shut for me, I literally fell off. So I was, you know, trying to keep up with you and a few other people, but from what I could tell, it was gelling. You definitely look different, you know, than your group compared to other people. So, you know,
Thank you. Yeah.
yeah. And that's half the battle.
Yeah.
After the day, like your look and your image. Because I mean, so many things is this like that looks too much like this person. You know, this looks like too much like that group. And where do you find being original? You know.
Exactly. And I mean, you know, everything's based on something else. You know, pop culture is a thing, and everyone gets inspiration from different places. You know, so obviously, like the Devil's Rejects was like a huge influence for us. Um, so yeah, just kind of like grungy, sepia toned. Yeah, we always wanted to do like stuff that was not like typical pro wrestling. So like all of our promo, you know, we cut promos. We don't do like the typical like mania kind of promo. You know, like our stuff is different than that aesthetically.
So did you have free reign with your microphone skills, or was there a little bit of like make sure you know say it this way or anything like that, or was it because you're more of indie? It was okay to just grab the mic and go.
Yeah, I mean, when you're working in a corporate environment, there's always going to be like that. You know, you're never going to have full free reign.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, we definitely had some creative input for sure.
That's great. And this is a question that never got a chance to ask you in the last only in the last 2 years. So it's 2020. We're on the social distance thing, and I remember seeing a video of you and your group coming out, and there's no fans on a lot, and it's a live television, and I'm just like, what is that like coming out to a vacant building, knowing the world's watching and you got to bring your A game, but like there's no audience. Tell us, what is that like? What was that era like?
Yeah, we've been through some weird times, man. It's weird, yeah. You know, the whole point of pro wrestling is the live experience and the back
Beating off the crowd.
fans. Yeah, exactly. You know, especially when you're a heel, you're trying to get heat and you want to talk shit. You know, so Yeah, the energy is totally different. Totally different. I think everyone adapted pretty well to it. And then again, I kind of have a different background than a lot of people in wrestling, where I have done a lot of studio work with like cameras and no fan. I honestly would say I'm a live performer above everything else, but I like doing studio stuff as well. Um, Being able to do multiple takes is cool, and like get the right one. But that's part of the live experience. You just have an organic experience, and not everything's gonna be perfect. But it was weird. I'm definitely glad that we have fans again. It's way better.
Without a doubt. I mean, when you go back to the dressing room after that, like, is there? I guess even the management, like, how do they know how everybody did? Because there's no audience. I guess I'm saying is between who you're wrestling and all management. I guess everybody's kind of learning on the fly of like, I guess that was good because like the match probably looked good, but like without the crowd,
Yeah,
pops is everything. Pops is what,
exactly.
and you have no way of telling.
I know. I know. Yeah, I mean, if we all felt like all the spots ran smooth, and no one botched anything, and timing was good, and the camera shots were good and stuff like that, I mean, that's all you can really hope for in that situation.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, by the time I was out, most of the women that were involved wrestling were just strictly divas. I mean, they were starting to wrestle a little more, but there's a million of you now. Like, how is if you want to say the sisterhood of the wrestling business? Is it just like the guys? Like, you got your cliques, you got your backstabbers and all that, or do you really all try to get along?
I mean, I think that's just human nature no matter where you go. But I try to avoid that because I'm not like that. I only put out good vibes in the locker room. I'm a heel, so my job is to put the other person over. And not, some people are selfish and only want to make themselves look good, and the match suffers because of it. But for the most part, I've had, there's definitely shitty people. I've definitely met some shitty people, but I met some amazing people too. Like that, there's like tons of amazing people in the industry that are awesome to work with, and like just good people too. Um, so yeah, I just just try and like show up, do my job, good vibes, only good vibes.
And I hear you on that one. And before, one of the reasons I was out when it was time, I kind of lost the love for it between the basically really the fans is why I left wrestling. Like, like you're done with the wrestling match and the fans are like trying to tell the boys like, that was good, but here's what you need to do, and here's what I like to see. I was like, what are you freaking Vince McMahon?
I know.
You can't
Yeah,
separate your mind for a couple hours and just enjoy. Like, you have to
exactly.
be like, I don't know. I mean, do you have that? Do you have them like telling you what you should be doing? Like, how often do you get that compared to someone saying, "Hey, you really did a great job last night. I appreciate you." Like, how often do you hear that?
To be honest, I hear more positive stuff from fans. There's definitely fans that love to know information that no one else knows, and like weird shit like that. But again, like I have a filter where I just really try and filter out negativity. I try not to read the negative comments, or at least if I see the negative comments, just kind of like just let it go, because people are always going to say shitty stuff. But for the most part, yeah, I gotta say, like, it's been generally positive for the most part.
That's great. And currently, right now, like, I know you said the Ring of Honor thing ended a little while ago. So where you and your fraction are just, I get, what, free agents right now? You're just lingering wherever you like to go.
Well, Vincent is signed to Impact, so he kind of has a thing going on there. But yeah, we were doing a bunch of indies together. We're gonna be June 30th at the arena, actually, in Philly. We're gonna be doing a trios match together, and we go up to Northeast Wrestling pretty frequently together. So, just kind of wherever we land. But yeah, we definitely talk all the time and shoot creative shit back and forth with each other. So,
man, how do you see the state of the wrestling business right now?
it's a weird time, like people are always getting fired and moving companies and stuff like that. There's tons of talent out there, and there's tons of talent out there that's not signed. It's a tough business, and AEW is kind of like dominating the majority of everything that's going on. But
Are they currently right now better than WWE? Because I don't have those. I don't keep up with it.
I definitely pay attention to AEW a lot more than I do WWE. I watch a ton of women's wrestling, obviously, and the women at WWE there's a lot of women there that I do like, that I think are super talented. And same with AEW. I have a lot of friends there, and it's cool to see everyone killing it and getting a platform like that. So it makes me stoked. But yeah, I don't. As state of things, I don't know, man. It's just do the best you can and just keep going.
Yeah, and AEW, I know the little that I know as of that happened in the last year or so, but like I knew Vince had to cut a lot of his roster. I think because of maybe bad contracts or something, or so. I mean, do you think that's the biggest part? Is they're signing, all the companies are signing people to too big of deals, and for profit versus
Yeah, I think that definitely happens, but who knows, man? Like corporate shit, like
yeah.
like it's just one of those things. Like there's always going to be, when you're working for a big company or any kind of corporation, there's going to be some bullshit. So
without a doubt. So like, have you performed outside the country yet? Like, have you got around to like taking the show on the road between you and your faction?
No, but hopefully that would be a thing in the future.
That's great. And what's like your fantasy list before you move on to something else, knowing because I don't picture you when wrestling's done, you're going to go off into the sunset. Like you'll always be doing something. You'll probably become a fireman or something,
Yeah. How else can I risk my life? And oh, so many places. Yeah. I mean, like when I was like skateboarding full time, I was touring a lot with that, and I got to go to Japan for skateboarding, and I fell in love with it. So I would love to go back there and wrestle. Mexico is high on my list because again, I love lucha, and I would just love to go down there for a few weeks or a couple months and just like train with the luchadors. So those are probably the two that are highest on my list.
That's great. That's great. And I know before this, I would catch you at like particularly like tattoo conventions and stuff. You would always be, I look up, and you'll be you'll be hanging from the ceiling with hundreds of people staring at you. So, like, tell us about that, which obviously is something that really works your core when you're doing that. So, like, when did you even start that? How'd that happen?
I've been doing that for over a decade. That was another thing. It's just kind of like, I did gymnastics as a kid. I always obviously was an athlete and loved flipping around and stuff. So when I started taking classes recreationally at the circus school in Philly, I was always naturally it was easy for me to build strength and stuff. So it was easy for me to just start working professionally in that world. I still do those tattoo conventions a lot. I'm on the road with them pretty frequently. And it is a ton of core. And that's why I love it. It's so much upper body and core. And, you just build core strength without even trying, honestly. It's exhausting. I mean, don't get me wrong, obviously. But it's great cross training too for, again, it's you use your whole body and you use every joint, every muscle. So, you know, it's a cool thing for people to get into recreationally if they have like other stuff going on and just want to take a class one day a week. And, you know, I get the cardio from wrestling and I get the strength training from that, you know, so they kind of like balance each other out.
A lot of people probably, when they try to go in the air like that, did you ever get those people? It's like, you really need to start hitting weights before you come back here, right? It's like people don't understand, you know, like yeah, I think you have to have some sort of athletic background to even, you know, go in that direction.
Yeah, yeah, we make it look easy, but yeah, I mean, there's definitely like some people like can't do a pull up, you know, and that's a problem. But you know, coaching has been my side gig, and I like that's one I coach that too. Like I have a studio in Philly, so if anybody is in the Philly area and wants to learn that, definitely hit me up. But yeah, a lot of people do say that like, oh, I can't, you know, this looks cool, but I can't start this because I have no upper body strength. But that's the whole point, you know, and there's always building blocks, there's always drills, and I'm a nerd, so I love conditioning, and I try to make it fun for people because working out does feel good and getting stronger feels good. And I really pride myself on making people really fucking strong, and I'm here for it. So yeah, there's always stuff you can do. There's always intro level stuff. I can always get somebody upside down and doing stuff that they didn't expect that they would be doing.
That's great, man. Well, I mean, you're a leader. That's good.
I'm here to help people get buff, man. You know, I'm all about
it. So, but would you still say, I know you do that, but wrestling is wrestling at this time your main love, or is it that?
I mean, it's hard to say. You know, I love both things. There's probably definitely a lot less bullshit involved in my studio stuff, my circus stuff. We still get personalities and egos. That's still a thing, you know, wherever you go. Again, I just go where the wind blows me, you know, because, you know, you have good experiences, you have bad experiences, you have exhausting times that you're just like on the road for 24 hours and you're like, why am I doing this? But, you know, there's always those rewarding moments, you know, when like the show's awesome and everyone's having a good time because they're watching you perform. And that's what I'm here for at the end of the day. Is I'm an entertainer and I'm here to show people a good time. And that's what it's about for me.
That's I think you're running on all cylinders. I think you're doing it all right.
Thank you.
Yeah. What is your advice for as long as you've been to wrestling? You knew about the Monday Night Wars in the 90s and stuff when a wrestler would finally get their spot and then they get a bad injury and they might be doing the wrong thing to get through day to day. Like how do you handle something when you might have a busy schedule and something went wrong, whether it's a knee or a shoulder or the back? Like how do you advise addressing something to you know, going forward? So it's like you don't really have to take off, but you're also trying not to further damage your own body, but yet, you know, get the job done. Do you have a protocol? Like, do you actually have a set protocol?
The protocol is different for whatever's going on, but that's definitely a thing. I mean, for as long as I've been performing athlete, that's always a thing. Like, you know, sometimes you're doing the same routine night after night, multiple times a night, and you get repetitive stress injuries and you can't take off because you have a contract and you just have to figure it out. Most of the time there's a way to work around an injury. You just got to modify it, and you got to do the rehab when you're done for the night. You know, the TENS unit, the electrical like pulse thing is a thing you got to hook yourself up to sometimes. A lot of CBD bomb and stuff like that. foam rolling is huge. That's super key to like just moving all the tissue around and getting blood flow going again. So like any little stuff you can do to that, you know, to help yourself recover. But it's hard sometimes, and there's definitely been times that it's just stressful, you know, when you're injured or partially injured, or you have like something chronic and you can't take off. Like you just can't. So it's always a different protocol depending on what you're dealing with, and depending on like what you have to do like out on stage. But it's not fun. That's one of the dark sides of doing this, is dealing with that, because it's also depressing and fucks with your mind when you're injured and in pain.
Yeah,
so,
it really makes sense.
That's the thing.
Yeah, and wrestling's something that doesn't have an off season. You know,
No,
it's
no
the truth.
time
It's
off.
the only one. All the other four major sports, there's a time where you get to crash and reset, but wrestling is nonstop. You know, so I don't know how you keep up with it, but I'm real proud of you. So, what have you been listening to these days, since music was our connector?
Well, I did go to MDF, Maryland Death Fest, for the full 4 days this past time, and that was amazing. So Cavalera, Max and Igor playing Sepultura, Beneath the Remains, and Arise was like the best shit ever. Like 15-year-old me was so happy. Yeah. Live music was like the thing.
Let me jump right in there with that. So, why wouldn't the rest of Sepultura just perform with there? Or does Max have a beef with the other members?
I don't know what the deal is. Yeah, that's been a thing for like a number of years. But yeah, I guess it was Dan from Possessed was like doing lead guitar duties for them this time. But you know, Max and Igor, they're Sepultura, you know.
They are Sepultura, yeah. I can't remember the other guys' names anyway, but yeah.
It's Max and Igor. Yeah, they fucking ripped so hard, like it was so great. So yeah, I listen to like tons of like doom metal, tons of death metal, like all the stuff that I listen to has been around quite a while. But I do want to plug the new Worm Rot record coming out on Earache soon, because that shit fucking rules. And yeah, I'm kind of doing some cross promotion with those guys. So if you like the extremely extreme, check out the new Worm Rot. It fucking rules. And their new music video is like very cinematic and fucking awesome. So highly recommend.
Yeah. And you can check out us in the Dark Military Bad Luck 13 music video. If everybody puts that on YouTube, that was a fun shoot in a movie theater.
That's a Philly OG hardcore right there.
Damn right. But that's so. And also, are you ever thinking about getting back in music at all? Because I know I'm jumping all over the place, but I know you were doing a band, or bands on and off.
I do miss it. Like the last couple bands that I was in, we just like people moved and stuff, and it's just like we couldn't find a drummer because drummers are hard to find. It's just like dumb stuff. But I am interested, actually. I do miss it. The last band I had, it was getting a little tricky with booking shows, because I had so many other things going on, and like obviously like playing.
You need to clone yourself is the problem.
What's that?
You need to clone yourself is the problem.
Exactly. But I'm definitely interested. I will put that out in the atmosphere. You know, I would definitely be down to like throw down some extreme vocals for like a death metal band or some grindcore or something.
I'm sure there's some Philly people listening to this that might be messaging you. You know,
I'm interested. I miss it a lot, actually. Definitely interested.
Good, good. I mean, I root for you. You're just one of them people. Like I like to that you just go like find out, just go do it. And
Yep.
I think a lot of people what if their life too much, and I'm one of
That's
them.
right.
I'd rather go fully in and fall flat on my face. At least I know compared to that torture of.
It's not easy to do this shit. It's pretty scary, man. There's no fucking safety net, you know, like shit's hard. Like
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know how to live any other way. So
yeah, but I think inner torment on a human is of not taking a chance and just be alone in their own mind and not taking a shot.
Yep.
Go for it. Just
No
find
regrets,
out.
man.
Find out. And if you fall, get up again. Maybe there's something else you might be attracted. Go give that a shot. But
exactly.
Find your way.
There will be a lot of failure, but you know, that's just part of the journey.
Yeah. I mean, that's just it's coming out of the gate in anything. I mean, my early film stuff, you know, between other projects I was at, like I just cringe. I'm like, I wasn't in that. I wasn't in it. You know, but
yeah, we all have those. It's
yeah.
Okay.
that just comes with it though. It's just like getting a band and you know, you go drive 2 hours to a place and the only other people there to see you are the other bands. You're just like,
yeah.
But it's a building stone. Yeah, but it's part of the building stone. I'm sure you've also wrestled in, you know, in front of thousands of people and also probably wrestled in front of 29 people. You know, I've been there with that. You know, you're just like, okay, and there's no reaction out of anybody. All right.
Yeah. I mean, I can always get a reaction because I'm amazing. But yeah, I like playing smaller clubs and shit though. Like there's like something to being in the dank, you know, like. And yeah, I've done like huge stadium shows in front of tens of thousands of people. Those are kind of easier because like people disappear. But then when you're at a smaller place, like you see everybody. But you know, I have a punk rock roots, so I come from the dank, you know, and I still like playing those like weird house shows and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, punk rock will never leave my punk rock will never leave my body. I always will prefer the hole in the wall bar compared to any major venue or upstate state any day of the week. It's unbeatable. Sure. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, all about the dive bars. That's where I feel most at home.
Yeah. And you can watch the owner's eyes, like I didn't realize what I booked. I don't think this is ever happening. And like, yeah, make sure we do the best performance and have the most fun here because they ain't having us back. You gotta love that. But yeah, so you're gonna stay. You have any thoughts of traveling, like moving anywhere to like go like concentrate on anything, or is Philly truly your home?
Philly's been my home for quite a while, but at this point, I feel like I'm not really attached to anything, you know, like that's been like the theme of our conversation. I just kind of go where life takes me. And I don't know, man, you know, this world's crazy. Like you can't really like plan a whole lot. And who knows, you know, I've never, you know, been one of those people who could like have a 5-year plan. Like that was always like a real struggle for me. And I definitely don't have one now because like, you know, the world's fucking crazy. Like who the fuck knows what's going on a year from now even. So, yeah, I mean,
especially your world revolves around events and you just don't know, like there's a reason, you know, I've ran my film festivals. I haven't done that since 2019. I don't think I ever will. I'm not officially saying it's over. But I don't need to be booking multiple venues and then something hits and they're like,
I know.
Like I'm not taking the risk.
It sucks. Yeah.
For this current time, I'm not taking the risk. No way. You know, I get people hitting me up. I got a new film. I'm like, yeah, well, you better send it around the country because right now I'm not going near it. It's too much of a risk.
It's impossible to plan.
Yeah. Crazy. Well, this was an awesome interview with one of my oldest buddies in the area here. But I thank you so much for coming on this show. And right now, feel free to blast any of your next wrestling performances or how to get a hold of you or your business. The floor is yours.
Yeah. So if you want to hit me up on Instagram or Twitter, on Instagram, it's VITA VONSTARR, VITA VONSTARR. And on Twitter, it's just V VonStarr. And check out CCW. They're in Delaware, all women's promotion, because I go there quite a lot and I'm about to take over that shit. So definitely check out CCW as well as MCW in Baltimore. I go there a lot. So definitely come out and see me at a show.
Awesome. And I will also thank this audience for taking the time to join me again this week. We have a new show every Monday morning at 5 a.m. And please give us those subscribes. It matters so much on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and Stitcher. Every subscribe helps the algorithm, helps the show get out. So I do these shows for you. And with that, I thank you again.